Hi, welcome back to Hi Fi Planet. This is going to be just a quick update that I wanted to share while it's still relatively fresh in my mind. Having just listened to an update from my trusted source, Simon Parks, who is the leader of Connecting Consciousness, of which I am a member. I've talked about this before, especially in the video on Three Eye Atlas. Um, there were three specific areas that he touched upon: current events, of course, including the, the developments in Venezuela. He touched upon Three Eye Atlas and the RV, otherwise known as Nasara Jasara. And I am paraphrasing here because he only shares when he is given permission to share with us, his community, what is verifiable, what is true and real, and what we can count on. And I certainly am not privy to those details, but I wanted to give you the update that I have, so that you don't have to wonder. So the first thing is current events, the development in Venezuela. This was carried out because in order to establish peace on this planet, the head of the cartels and all of the underground criminal syndicate in charge of the cartels, in charge of drug and human trafficking, had to be extracted in order for the free world to establish peace and to give its people prosperity. That not only includes Venezuela, it includes all of the countries around the world whose leaders are working with our military to establish peace on this planet so that we can have the RV, the revaluation of our assets. And instead of just printing money and for the sake of perpetuating these crimes around the world, we are establishing real currency backed by gold and silver that every country can rely upon. And I do believe there's going to be a form of digital currency. I'm not an expert there, but there has to be a way to unify currency flowing from nation to nation without any one nation having an advantage. But I don't want to get into that. As I said, the main points I want to talk about are that we can breathe easy, that despite what you're going to hear on mainstream media and from the left leaning perspective, this surgical strike had to take place. It was very clean. And again, it's because Maduro was not just instrumental in drug and human trafficking, he was the head of the cartels and was in fact responsible for election steals in several countries, including our own. So that is that. Moving on to Three Eye Atlas. As a follow up to what I said in my previous video, what I can share is that this was AI driven and connected to negative entities in the race called the Anunnaki. There was communication broadcasting that it was arriving in peace, yet it was connected to negative forces who were wanting to set up a base of operations on the planet and wanted to assert its power again, to ride this frequency or this energy so that it could advance. And it was set in motion a long, long time ago, given coordinates to link up with certain places in our solar system and link up with certain energy nodes along the ley lines on our planet to arrive closest to Earth at the peak of the energy frequency, which is the winter solstice, so that it could basically take advantage of this frequency and ascend or move out of the fourth dimension. We do have a space force, and I would encourage all of you, if you have not heard of or listened to Carrie Cassidy, Carrie, Kerry, and Cassidy, Cassidy. She is an investigative reporter who has been interviewing above top secret whistleblowers for decades. Her intel is trustworthy, and so You can learn a lot about the space program, which has been run by the negative factions on and off this planet. That's all I'm going to say about that. But that is why we have a Space Force as well as an Earth Alliance to maintain peace and prosperity for the people of this Earth. So there was a positive operation that took care of the spacecraft. 3I Atlas is no longer in our solar system, and it did not accomplish its mission. Moving on to 2026, we can expect very good things in terms of prosperity increasing. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but it's going to be a cascade or different, branching out in different ways in different communities. I do really believe that our tax system is going to be gone because our taxes have only fed the negative factions and the worldwide criminal organization that has been working underground. So taxes will be no more. There will be other ways that the revaluation will benefit not just the United States, but all people in the free world on this planet. So good things to come in 2026. And for those who may be listening to this and thinking, what the heck is she talking about? I'm just going to mention a brief historical synopsis. I think I mentioned the White Hat Alliance in my previous video. They came into being after Lincoln's assassination. They solidified after JFK's assassination, and they are the movement responsible for recruiting Trump to run for president and to form an alliance, a worldwide alliance that could grow in numbers and would have the ability to eradicate these negative forces who have been on the planet far too long. It's time for them to go. And if we want peace and prosperity on our planet, this cleaning out and weeding out must happen. And there's so much more that we will learn. But, you know, as individuals, we will all learn it, I believe, when our body, mind, and spirit, mostly mind, can digest it and understand it. But suffice it to say that good things are unfolding. We don't need to fear about our own leader being part of a fascist regime that is simply a lie perpetrated by the enemies who do not want to see prosperity for humanity and all sentient beings, quite frankly. So, the last thing I want to say, it bears repeating that benevolent forces never impose their will on other beings. They wait for their invitation. Malevolent forces will manipulate and connive, and they will present 99% of the truth. But that last 1%, that loophole where truth does not reside, is what they're going to use to gain your trust, to get your permission to give your power away in such a way that they can gain traction and perpetuate more lies, more false narratives and status, and just keep perpetuating war after war after war. Our president in the United States is forming peace, but it is peace delivered through strength. So just keep that in mind as you listen to the news. And I would encourage you to not listen to mainstream news because they are simply the voice of the criminal syndicate. And like it or lump it, Trump is on the right side of history, and this will be revealed in time. So I think I will leave it there, wishing you all a very happy new year and a very prosperous one. Maintain the faith, keep the hope, because the best truly is yet to come. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.